Hi, hello, this is Esmeralda. Welcome to my YouTube video today. I actually got so much new book reviews coming to you guys to this channel. So if you guys are definitely into that, then I highly recommend to either subscribe or like this video. It's been quite some time since I actually did a book review, and I mean an actual book review. I've been doing a lot of unboxings on my channel, but I kind of wanted to get back to the core of it, I guess, what I really truly love, and I'm trying to bring the love of books back to my channel. Now, if you guys notice, I do have a little bit of a different background. I'm still playing around with the background and the lighting, so just really be patient with me on that one. But I did end up using this tapestry as my background in this other section of the room. And so far I'm kind of liking the lighting in here as well as the background now. I did get in one of my Owl Crate subscriptions for February, so I love it. And now I finally have like a nice backdrop in the back. It's basically a gal falling into a book, so what more fitting background for this type of review? Anywho, let me get started right away. You may or may not hear my son in the background. He is in the room, just a different portion of it, so you might hear him giggling, playing around, whatever, you know. So with that, I'm gonna start off, as you guys can tell by the description of this video, it's going to be a Neil Gaiman book set that I actually have. So this is a book set that I actually wanted to talk about. I got it backwards here. But this is basically it right here. This is all in a box set. Now, this isn't like a series where you need to read the first book and then able to continue to the second book and third book and so forth. That's not the case with this. These are all 3 individual books. It's just a box set because there are illustrations exclusively from Chris Riddell. He's really well known in Britain for being a really great illustrator, and I think he did an amazing job with these books. Let's start with the Neil Gaiman's book of Coraline. Now, the original cover of this book was actually kind of like a doll-like, really creepy picture in the front. But this one, Chris Riddell's basically version of the front cover, is absolutely beautiful. And if you guys can tell, back here there's this creepy little lady. I don't know if the camera's really focusing, but it's the other mother. We do have the cat, which plays a big role also in the Coraline actual book. Now, there's plenty of stuff on this that I totally get and understand why he illustrated the way he did it, and it's just absolutely magnificent. Now, the back is just a brick wall basically, but that's kind of to get you the idea of when she went into this other world. Now, one thing I loved, and I know I'm kind of bringing this up in this video, but in my Owl Crate unboxing of February, it was Hidden Worlds, and I absolutely love the fact, which, I mean, just the thought of me knowing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the fact that actually Owl Crate decided to do their own kind of inspirational necklace of Coraline, which that's where I got this beautiful key from. So I figured it's more fitting for me to wear it today, though I know you could barely see it with the background of the shirt, but it's okay. I'm fine with that. So anywho, let's get started with this whole little story. I'm not going to give you guys a full rundown of it, but I do want to give you guys just basically a little summary of the book. Now, it is about a young girl with her family, and she goes to live in this new location, and it is kind of like a mini mansion, but it has 3 different portions of the home. And in the home where she lives in, there is a door that has never been opened, or so it seems locked, which the parents don't really want to get into, or they don't even know what it is, so they just, you know, and they don't really pay Coraline too much attention, so she kind of feels like she's the forgotten child or whatnot. Upstairs on the very top level, you have the old man, and he, according to him, talks to mice. And then you have the downstairs, Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, I believe that's her name. And they're both wonderful ladies downstairs that owns, you know, dogs and whatnot. So anywho, so this is all about Coraline meeting her neighbors, getting to know how they are and whatnot. And one strange thing that did happen was Miss Forcible and Miss Spink did give her a rock with a hole in it, and all they basically told her was that it was for sometimes good for some stuff that are bad, and that's about it. Creepy, I know. But anywho, so Coraline goes about her day. She does her own things throughout the day. She starts to get bored because she counts all the windows and everything, and it just seems to be boring to her. So she wants to do something totally different, and she remembers this little door or secret little compartment area that seems to have like a key to it, which she did end up finding a skeleton key, you know what I mean, to get in there. So she does, and it's about her discovering this whole other world, what she needs to do with this new adventure. What she thinks was something great and amazing turned out to maybe not be everything she's ever thought. It's basically a world in her world, if you will. And it's just a whole other world where she now sees a different mother, and it's her mother but a different version of her mother, if you get me. She's more slender, more tall, she has buttons as eyes, and it's just about her adventure going into this whole new world. At the very end, she definitely has to go and eventually try to save her parents, to say the least. So I'm not gonna tell you if she saved them or not, or what she had to go through, or what she even found in this new place. There's definitely a lot of dark moments in this book, but it's definitely a really good, and again, this is a children and young adult book. So basically Chris Riddell, what he did is at the beginning of each chapter, right before that chapter, he did give some basically pictures, and that's where you see Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, and this is just his way of thinking of how they are. And then of course starts then the chapter right after that, and that you can kind of see also in the Graveyard book when I get to it. But that's just basically one illustration. There's another one where you basically saw a little version of him, but in this whole other world, just to kind of give you how creepy it is. And there's this picture. Super creepy, right? So much going on. You don't even understand what it is. I'm telling you, it has dark moments, but very high peaks as well. So if you love adventure and what the adventure this little girl goes into, definitely I recommend to read this book. Now, a lot of people have probably already seen the movie already, but I definitely recommend for you guys to read the actual book. There's a couple characters that were changed up a little bit, or what they do and whatnot, but one in particular, it's a huge difference in the book and in the movie. So yeah, definitely read that. It's great. A lot of suspense to it too, and just an adventure of what she has to overcome, basically. So the second book we have, this was going to be a little shorter, more review and summary, is Fortunately The Milk by Neil Gaiman again. And again, is Chris Riddell. He did the illustrations for this. Super good illustrations, by the way. Just look at the front, like how detailed it is. It's like really, really good. And it basically sums up what this book is. It's an adventure book. This one is definitely catered to more children than young adults. And just to give you guys a really quick look, just by looking at the wording, very simple, loads and loads of pictures, which really brings everything basically to life. And it's just the little things that he gets into, and this is about a dad. It all starts off with the mother going on a conference, so she's got to be away, and these two children, a boy and a girl, they are in the middle of wanting to eat their cereal, but guess what, there is no milk. So the dad has to go and get this milk, and it's just about the dad coming back and talking about his adventure about the milk and everything he supposedly sees and whatnot. It's really fun, and I think it's very enjoyable. Like, I can't wait to read this to my son. I did read another book to him just to see how well he would probably do with a book like this. He did fantastic. So I think he's ready for a book like this. Again, he's 4 years old, but he can follow books so good. Well, he's about to be 5. But yeah, this is just everything from, you know, I don't know. I mean, you have everything from dinosaurs to pirates to vampires. It's definitely quite the adventure. Now, I know they're going to be doing an actual book about this. Oh, and then blobby people too. I almost forgot about that. The globby people. And just this whole adventure that the dad goes into. They are going to be doing a movie adaptation of this. It's gonna be pretty exciting. But this one, really, just to sum it up, it's a fun, really quick read, by the way, of just an adventure of what the dad goes through just to get milk for his kids. And yeah, so really quirky, definitely adventurous. So if you want a quick read, or even for your child, this I highly recommend. Very silly, very goofy, for sure. So last but not least, I'm going to talk about such an amazing book, The Graveyard Book. This is absolutely amazing. I think Chris Riddell really did an amazing job with illustrations on this particular book. Even the way they are depicted and everything, like this is totally what I would see them looking like. Like this is Silas. This is Bod's guardian, and this is Bod over here. So it's all about, just to start off really quickly, it's basically knowing about, it's a lot of mystery behind the Jacks, or Jack, if you will. And it's just basically this guy comes into a house and he basically kills his mother, his mother, his father, and his sibling. And he actually, being so young, like literally very young little baby, he somehow escaped. He was just crawling out, not knowing what he was doing, but he was just crawling out and ended up in a graveyard. And in this graveyard, ghosts live in there. And it's, again, a whole other world that the living people don't know about. So it's just basically Bod, when he went in there, the Owens, which is Mr. and Mrs. Owens, they are ghosts, and they decided to take him in because they noticed there was an evil man coming around the graveyard trying to get this child. So to protect him, basically all the ghosts got together, and all the living creatures in the graveyard decided to kind of help on taking care of Bod and teaching him the ways of the graveyard to kind of protect his identity in him. They ended up calling him Nobody Owens, and that's basically his name. So they nicknamed him Bod, and his guardian is Silas. Now he's a very mysterious character in this book. He is not someone, like, until today, I still don't fully understand everything about him because he's so mysterious. He doesn't like explaining things way too much to Bod, and there's a lot of things that I think, to protect Bod, doesn't tell him of who he really is or what he really does. He just knows he's his guardian, and he's going to guide him through his life, at least until he's old enough, because he's going to get to a certain point where he's gonna get old, and he's going to need, not old, but like he's gonna grow up, and he's gonna have to live a normal life eventually. So it's just his story about getting to know, so it's just his story about getting to know the graveyard, getting to know the people that live there, and also about discovering different areas of the graveyard that possibly he shouldn't have even been in. But because of him being such adventurous and always trying to discover new things, I guess it kind of helped in his advantage later on, because the Jack who killed his family is going to try to come back and get him. So it's all about learning and just him trying to fit in with real people, and how his guardian helps him. There is another guardian that does come in to try to help him to basically do things that ghosts do, whether it's disappearing, fading away, dream kind of stuff, like getting into people's dreams. And it's Miss Lupinsky, I believe that's her name. So she plays a huge part. There's also a witch that Bod, you know, starts to learn about, named Liz, that what role she played in also with him. You get to know a lot of characters in this graveyard, and it's just very snippets of them, but Neil Gaiman does such a good job explaining each one of those characters real briefly, and you kind of get an idea of what era they're from, what their life was about, and whatnot. And even Bod does too. So of course, in this world of the graveyard, there's also excuse me, other worlds as well. So it's just about Bod basically persevering and getting to know who he really is, his backstory, and yeah, it's learning a lot of things about growing up, especially as a teenage kid. So There is another actual human that he does get along with. Her name is Scarlet, and it's just his adventure with her as well. But it's just such a great read. And it is a page turner. Once you get halfway through this book, by the way, let me tell you, that's where everything starts, like getting really crazy, and you're just gonna want to finish this book up for sure. Well written, definitely well written, and highly recommend. So if you guys ever get the chance to pick up this book, definitely do so, especially with these illustrations, because again, just like I said with the other prior book from Coraline, right before each chapter there's a picture. And now keep in mind, there's a lot of dark things in this book. Don't think of it as too dark to deal with, but it's put it this way. Here is a picture of one of the characters that on there, and this particular character does play a huge part in this book as well. There's another one, just to really quickly show you guys. This is another picture of just Silas in his little area where he basically stays, kind of crumbly place, because you know the graveyard isn't nowhere fantastic. But yeah, so before each chapter there's a picture, and it kind of gives you just a brief little snippet of what that chapter might be about. So overall, I love this book, highly recommend. And actually, that's going to conclude my book reviews on these. I hope you guys liked it. I hope I didn't say too much, but all of these are adventure books, and two of them, which is the first one, Coraline, and the Graveyard book, can be a little bit dark at times, but they're really fun to read. I would think the Graveyard book is definitely more catered to young adult book, but nonetheless, they're really fantastic books. And again, it actually comes in this little container. And that'll conclude my reviews for these books. I know this was really lengthy, but it was 3 books, and I wanted to make sure I gave you guys as much as I could about them. So don't forget to give this video a like, and also subscribe if you'd like to see more content. There's going to be a lot more book reviews coming up, probably even book hauls and whatnot, so stay tuned for that. And now, this concludes my video. So until next time, toodles!